tell us a little bit about what Evan's going to do out here today.
So today we are obviously kind of getting into the track season. He ran his first indoor track race about a week and a half ago in New York. So we're just kind of easing ourselves into it, not trying to do anything too amazing here today. We are going to do a set of intervals at goal race pace. So for him, we're shooting for 4-minute pace, and we're going to run a series of, we're going to run 800, 600, 400 at goal race pace, which is going to be right around 60 seconds for his quarters. Good movement on that one.
I need somebody to stretch me out like this.
Right?
This is great.
A little bit of everything. Oh, there we go. Release. Release the hounds. All right, turn over.
Oh, okay.
So today we're just looking for him to kind of maintain that pace. I want to see his tempo. I want to see how he feels running that quick. We're not going to work, huge rest intervals. So the rest intervals will be pretty short. So we're going to try to mimic that race style as much as we can. And really just looking to see how he responds to it and how he feels doing that. So that's really the goal for this year. We thought last year he was getting close to that 4-minute barrier. Had some issues last year towards the end of the season, so we couldn't get in a race where he was able to accomplish it. So that's kind of been the recurring goal for this year, and that's kind of how we're building, setting up our workouts. Funny, his pre-race warm-up routine has evolved a lot over the years. So we do a series of things now, but it used to be when was it that race I saw you? That was APU a couple years ago.
I did a 10-minute jog, and then I did dynamics and sat still for 25 minutes, and then I ran.
And then he went out, and he looked like he was shivering when he got to the starting line, and I was up in the stands. I came to him after the race. I said, "What are you doing for your warm-up? It looks like you're not warmed up." He goes, "Well, I was shivering when I got to the starting line." I said, "I think we need to redesign your warm-up." So you still have dynamics and everything, right?
I'm gonna do dynamics, I'm gonna do excels, then I'm gonna do my upper body mobility stuff, and then we'll do it.
Okay. All right.
Good?
Yeah. Oh boy, we got the band.
So what's kind of like your normal warm-up routine?
For workouts, it's really poor. It was what I was saying earlier. So we do 2-lap jog, warm-up, dynamics for 35 yards, jog 65. And then we have 8 total that we do. So we end up jogging 2 extra laps. Then we do a lap of strides. So 100 sprint, 100 jog, 100 sprint, and then that's pretty much all we do. Today, since it's a bit harder, I'm trying the full race routine. Besides like supplementing and stuff, just like all the eating's the same, but in terms of like the actual like warm-up, this is what I would normally do pre-race instead of like if we had an easier workout, I'd just stick with a normal workout, but since today's a little harder, gotta warm up a little more. So I'm gonna hit a couple strides. I'll keep this stuff on, but it's like 50 meters or so.
Ready to roll? All right, it's gonna be a little windy on that back stretch, okay? So we'll factor that into it. So don't worry about it, but just take it into consideration. All right?
Yep.
I'll call out your splits. Whenever you're ready.
Whenever ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Good? Yeah. All right, deep breath. And go.
You mentioned that he had his first kind of track race indoors at Nike, and then now it's outdoor season, and it's only March. How will workouts like this one here today help build for just the season down the line?
Yeah, so I think you just nailed it. That's really the key, just building on what we've already been able to accomplish. When he went out to Nike, the goal was to be under 8:50 for the full 2 mile. He ended up running 8:46, which real good, kind of early season mark for him, just to kind of help him build that confidence going into the outdoor season. So we're just going to work gradually. As you know, in California, California, it's a long season, and as we get towards the end of the year here in California, we have a gauntlet of meets from league meet to CIF prelims to finals to masters and then on to state meet. So we really try to ease into it. We try to be very conservative early in the season, be very patient. I think that's the key to it because there's a lot of volume coming up towards the end of the year here. And then obviously there's some postseason meets that he's considering running at this point that will really give him an opportunity to match up against some really high level competition. 57, 58, 59, 60. Relax those arms, relax the shoulders, buddy.
8.64 goal mile race pace. Is this something that you do pretty frequently, like during the season? Or?
Yeah, more of just kind of a fitness check right now to kind of see where he is and see if he can handle that pacing. We won't do that too often. You know, we're still kind of in the strength phase of our season. We're still doing long runs. We're still focusing on tempo running. We're still doing short hills and things like that. So we'll move into some more of the shorter speed as the season progresses. But right now we're just kind of still in that building and developmental phase, knowing that we still have at least 3 months of the season to go. Right on, right on. That's it, way to work. "56, 57, 58, 59, 2 flat. Right on, pal. Good job. Good effort into that wind. It's 1 minute. Deep breaths, okay? Fill your lungs with air. It's good. It's good. It's a little windy out here today. And usually we got to factor that into it. So for him to run that pace into the wind, I think is good. It looks good. It looks nice and relaxed. It looks comfortable. And that's what I'm looking for. You want to start up there so we get less wind? Sure. Okay. Ready to go? Okay, a couple deep breaths. Okay, here we go. All right, ready? Okay, deep breath. Go.
How important do you find that? Your nutrition and fueling and dialing in, especially for a good workout session?
Yeah, I think like now more than ever, it's kind of been like the biggest thing for me. Like I'd just be super nervous to race, and so those factors like eating would affect me during my race, but I wouldn't feel it before because I'd be so nervous. So this year, like eating for me right now is the biggest thing. I just gotta make sure I hit like enough calories to make sure I'm not hungry or like
25,
feeling weird
26,
when I get to like the start of the
27,
workout. I've had to almost double the amount of food I eat during school because I've noticed that it definitely helps. Like I don't feel as bad when coming to like a workout like this.
Nice and relaxed. "57, 58, 59, 60, 61. Nice and relaxed, buddy. Let's go.
You get a mini workout during these two, huh?
Get a lot of steps, that's for sure. It's good. Good for me. Keeps me active. "28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Okay, deep breaths. Keep moving. You know, so data is, I think, really important, and we certainly have so much more feedback and data now with a lot of the technology that we have accessible to us, the COROS watch obviously being a big part of that. It just gives us a lot of feedback. We can see where he's training in his heart rate range, we can see how quickly he's recovering, we can see what his training load is, and so it just helps us structure workouts from week to week, because I think, you know, the old school way of thinking was just, you know, come in here and, you know, pound every workout and, you know, run as fast as you can all the time, and I think we just know so much more about how the human body recovers now. And I think having access to that data really, really helps us formulate his training plan as we go through the season. buddy. Reach in there. Find it. You got this. Okay, a couple deep breaths. All right, ready? All right. Okay. Okay, deep breath. And go.
What do you look for in his form? Like, how do you know when he's starting to get tired?
He starts to lean back a little bit, shoulders come up. He starts to tighten up, I think like most runners do, right? Tendency is to lean back a bit. Been really working on his form. It's gotten a lot better the last couple years. You know, he's grown a lot too these last 2 years, so just dealing with the different biomechanics. That's it, buddy, looking good. Work those arms. 27, 28, 29. You're right on. Here we go. Let's go. You got this. Just trying to teach him how to relax when he starts to get uncomfortable, which is tough to do, but that's really the goal here. It's looking good. "54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59. Excellent. All right, good. Great.
You're quick on that one, but like how fast would have been too fast, right? Like, what's the limit?
Yeah, so this one, I'm not afraid of him pushing a little bit on that last one, especially, you know, like he's got a real strong finish. So I don't mind him being a little aggressive on that last one. I think that middle one, obviously that's when you really start to feel it. You know, he slowed down a little bit on that second one, but he's still, the challenge right now is just with this wind on this track, we have to factor that into it because that wind does take a lot out of you. Good job, bud. Nice finish. You know, I think sometimes the tendency is to look at the watch and the watch doesn't tell the whole story. You know, you got to factor conditions into it, especially wind, because it takes a significant amount of effort, especially as a taller athlete, to run into that wind when you're trying to run this pace. So, look, I'm happy with that. You know, a lot of these workouts too are just starting to build confidence, you know, just knowing that you can go out and do it. All right. It's good.
Yeah.
You should be proud of yourself for that one, man.
600 was 1 second off.
Yeah, a little bit slower, but that's to be expected. It's that middle lap, right? That third lap.
The pace went out to 59. So.
Yeah. That's all right, hard to meter. That wind's coming in pretty stiff right now too. So we factor that into it. I think all things considered, that's exactly where we want to be today.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
That's great. So let's get a sip and then a nice easy 30, okay? 30? Okay. Yeah.
So a lot of the stuff that I use COROS for their data is the like training load aspect. So I'll look at like their estimated training load for what I've been doing for that day. I can't see it during the workout, but after, you know, if I see something that's,
all right, let's get it going.
I don't know, higher than a general range than I expected, then, you know, kind of a sign that, you know, maybe that was a little too much, or kind of how I would feel going into that weekend. Usually it's been working like in my favor in terms of the estimated training load that I would guess is kind of right where it should be. And so I haven't really had like experiences where I needed to like pull back or relax because I see the training load's too high. During the workout stuff with COROS, the pacing is really accurate. I really don't like to check my watch during runs, but like if I do, you know, all the stuff's there. Sometimes we're working with 2 different groups, so you know, coaches on that side of the field or my dad's on that side of the field, you know, working with other people as I run by on this side, so kind of being able to hear that stuff is nice. In terms of like the long run for this season, these workouts are very like pace oriented. It's not really like how far can you go, it's just, you know, can you hold this pace for a certain amount of time. My goal this year is to be around that 4-minute barrier or go under it. And so I spent a lot of time last year working at this speed, doing 400 reps at 60 seconds over and over again. And so the more that I'm running at this pace, the easier it'll be to hold like without rest. And so that's pretty much the goal for the end of the season, is to be able to do that. It's really hard, especially with the wind, to kind of maintain that pace, but I was really happy that I was able to do that today. And then going forward, we're probably gonna do a lot more work like this, probably a little longer in terms of, you know, multiple reps, but you know, a little shorter in terms of the distance and keep the pace right the same and see if we can, you know, get through that 4-minute barrier this year.
Is there like a specific race that you're targeting this year in hopes that like maybe that sub-4 can come, or what are you looking at?
So we're looking for those opportunities. I think it's challenging because obviously to run that fast, you want to get into a good race. And the timing and the elements and the conditions have to be right. We don't want to try to do it too early in the season because obviously we want to try to build towards something later in the season when he's going to be in peak shape. Obviously the Arcadia coming up is a big deal here, or, you know, not, I was going to say in California, but around the country, that's a big race. A lot of kids coming in for that. You know, we try not to put too much in that race only because I've seen a lot of kids over the years run really fast at Arcadia and then you don't see them, you know, through the rest of the season. So we want to keep that in perspective. It's important, but really the important stuff is as we get towards the end of the season into the state meet. I think there'll be some opportunities for him to get in some good races there with some fast kids, and you know, he's going to have a real good shot at it. All right, good. Mission accomplished.